friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy and I make all sorts of weird and wonderful videos. So if you think you're going to enjoy this one, or you've seen my content before, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below, give this video a thumbs up so more people can find it, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. For today's video, I thought I would bring you my first foundation first impressions video, as you can tell by my delightfully bare and very attractive face at this time. Today we are going to be reviewing something that you will have seen in my previous video, which I'll link in a card on the screen, my Tarte haul. I was less than impressed with this foundation. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Matte Foundation. I was mostly unimpressed with it because of the shade, so we're going to kind of discount that in this video, but the finish wasn't great the first time I used it. It didn't seem to last particularly long on my skin, so I thought I'd give it another go when my skin was better, because if you remember from the last video, I'd had a bit of a reaction to something, and hopefully it'll be a little bit better this time. We hope, anyway. If you can hear any noises in the background, I would like to first of all, well, not necessarily apologise, but say that my friend Angela is just over there. She's, that was her, there you go. We are going to be filming a video later today, so keep an eye out for that on my channel. But otherwise, let's just dive straight into it. So first things first, before we go into the foundation, I'm going to prime my skin with the Soap & Glory One Heck of a Blot Instant Perfecting Power Primer. This is the primer that I've been using in the majority of my videos, mostly because I have 3 of them and I'm trying to use them up, I'm not going to lie to you. But it's also quite a good primer. It's quite hydrating, so it doesn't look dry or like interfere with my foundations too much. It does a really good job of keeping my oils at bay and filling in my pores, and if I sound nasally right now, that's because I'm pressing it on my nostrils. And it dries like really quickly, so you can apply your foundation really quite quickly after you've used it. So I just use a small amount kind of across my nose, my cheeks and my chin, which is where I have the most pores and the most oily, and it's kind of like my problem areas of my skin. And then I will use a small amount in the middle of my forehead as well, because that can be kind of shine slick central on my head if you are familiar with me in my day-to-day life. Holler at my oily skin girls here. Angela, repping me. So while that's kind of setting and doing its job, I'll talk you through the foundation. So like I said before, this is the Tarte Shape Tape Matte Foundation. I got mine in the shade Fair Sand, which was what the Tarte website recommended to me as my shade. As we can tell, it's probably not my shade. What do you think, Angela?
It is very light.
And the thing is, that's great, the fact that there was... Do you mind? So yeah, I was less than impressed with this foundation the first time I used it. I think the sponge that I used wasn't the best with it. I think the sponge was kind of crappy. Actually, the sponge was definitely crappy, if you remember from my Tarte video. I'd had a bad skin day. It wasn't looking brilliant. It wasn't just lasting well on my skin. I think having a lot of new products on my skin wasn't helping with that situation. So I'm willing to give it another go, hoping it doesn't let me down this time. At least this time I am prepared for the big doe foot applicator, unlike the last time. I don't know why I expected a pump. I really have no idea why I expected it to be a pump. Shape Tape foundation should be the same as the Shape Tape concealer, so it should have had a big doe foot. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That primer is sunk into my skin now, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply the foundation. I'm going to do one side of my face with a brush and one side of my face with the Beauty Blender to see how it applies with each tool. So I'm going to get my big doe foot. And I think I'll start with the sponge side. So I'm just going to kind of apply this all over my face. As we can clearly tell from the outset, it is definitely the wrong colour for me. So your Tarte shade matching on the website is less than accurate, let me say that. So I'm just using a Real Technique sponge to kind of just bounce this into my skin, because the Tarte sponge, within 5 minutes of me finishing that video, ended up in the rubbish bin.
Did you actually like bin it?
Yeah, I binned it. Like, literally, see when I threw it off the screen? There was a bin down the side, I literally went in the bin. I couldn't be bothered getting it out because it was just that bad. Okay, so this is blending a million times better with this sponge than it did with the Tarte sponge. It's supposed to be a full coverage kind of matte foundation. However, I'm sorry, it's not full coverage. That definitely isn't full coverage. I mean, it looks a lot better than it did in my previous video, but It's definitely not doing anything to hide any of the texture that's on my skin. Like, my skin's been okay recently. I've got this one crusty blemish here and a couple across my chin that are just healing. And around my nose is a bit dry on this side as well. But it's definitely not doing anything to disguise the texture that I have on my skin. And it actually almost looks to be separating on my skin with the wet sponge. And as well, as we can tell, this sponge has picked up a lot of product, so it's probably why it's not giving me fantastic coverage at this point. I mean, you can tell I've got product on my skin because my skin looks terrible. Like, round my nose, it's completely clung to that dry bit of skin. It's completely clung to this crusty blemishy thing on my face. It's completely stuck round my chin. And I don't know if you can see this. I'll do some close-ups later, but round here, it's like this weird texture that the foundation's picking up on that just isn't on my skin. Like, I don't have dry patches just to the left of my mouth. That's not where it is. It's gone dry. Oh my god, this is terrible. It looks terrible. It looks absolutely terrible. Maybe it's the sponge, because I used a sponge in the previous video, but this is not good. I mean, maybe it'll do better with the brush. So, I mean, we'll see whether it does. I don't think it's going to. Hey, you know they sell this for like 28 quid? If you're paying £28 for this, please let me know why. Because this is absolutely horrendous so far. Like, normally, like, matte full coverage foundations are like my jam. Like, that's absolutely what I'm buying. It's absolutely what I'm aiming for. Like, Estee Lauder Double Wear. I really love the Maybelline Superstay foundation. One of my favourite foundations of all time is MAC Studio Fix Fluid, which isn't exactly the easiest foundation to work with. But this is just terrible. I'm using a brush of no known origin, but it's clean. So that's good, right? I think it might be a Revolution brush, but I'm not 100% certain. Maybe this is just one of those foundations that needs to be applied with a brush, because immediately with the brush I'm getting a lot more coverage. But to be fair, I haven't finished blending it in properly, so that might disappear very quickly. Yeah, I look more of a ghost on this side. So I think obviously some of that can be attributed to the Beauty Blender picking up a lot of product. Because I mean, that thing is now a different ethnicity to when it started. I was like, I've got my own laugh track over to the side here. It's actually quite funny. Oh my god, it's like separating underneath my chin. It's balling up underneath my chin. I didn't even put primer there, so I know it's not even that. Oh my god, this is terrible.
So worth the £28.
Yeah. Like, I'm not a makeup artist, as you can tell. Like, I have no experience other than watching copious amounts of YouTube and practicing on my own face. Alright? I'm by no means a makeup expert. Like, my education lies in science and pharmacy. Like, that's what I know. But even, like, I can tell you, this is shit. I'd said to Daniel that I wasn't going to swear on my channel, but I think this has just firmly gone out the window. This is absolutely horrendous. This is so bad. I mean, I think I prefer how this side of my face looks, because at least the coverage is there and it doesn't appear to have highlighted as much texture on this side as it has with the sponge, which is very weird, because normally a hydrating sponge would, a wet sponge, sorry, would mean that less texture would show up. But at least I've got the coverage on this side and it doesn't look as bad. It doesn't look completely terrible, but I mean, I'm just gonna have to put this across my eyelids so that it doesn't look as red. But I mean, this is, I mean, I've got this texture on my forehead that doesn't exist. This is just not even, it's like it's not adhered properly on this side. So, and I've got this weird flaky texture everywhere. I will do close-ups just to let you guys see. This is just not good. I'm sorry, this is just trash. I'm sorry, this is garbage. I mean, I'm going to have to keep going now because I've started, so I'll finish. But, I mean, I'll try and bounce it in a bit on this side to see whether that makes it look a bit better, because the answer is no, it doesn't. Oh, Jesus. Right. Oh, God. We've, like, got bits of crap right now. This is absolutely terrible. Right. I don't even know what else to say about this. I mean, I'll finish doing the rest of my base and then we'll go from there. So, I mean, I'll go put my bronzer and stuff on and see whether that makes a difference, but I don't think it will. BRB. And I'm back. So I haven't done my eyeshadow yet because I'm going to be doing a review of a palette that you may have just seen, video coming soon. But the rest of my face is on. I will say this side of my face doesn't look terrible. I'm sorry for the rubbish Fenty Beauty powder. This side looks okay. I would go outside like this. This is just not acceptable. Like, it is balling and bunching around like my eye and my chin. It's like not adhered properly around here. It's caught on every single bit of texture. It's almost like it's rubbed off already down here. I've got weird texture on my forehead that doesn't exist. It's not really adhered very well on my nose. It looks quite dry and it hasn't really covered anything. So all in all, we're doing well from the start. If I had paid 28 quid, however much that is, I would not be impressed on the value that I'm seeing right now. And frankly, if I wasn't filming, if I was actually like going and doing something, I'd take this off and put something else on. Like, it's really not brilliant for what I've paid. And admittedly, I didn't pay full price for it, so I mean, at least there's that going for it. But for what I'm seeing on my skin, not brilliant. I mean, I have quite oily skin, so for me, I never normally have a foundation that looks bad off the bat on application. Normally, the issues come from either wrong shade, which obviously is an issue for this as well, or longevity later in the day. Normally, even like the mattest, most full coverage foundations normally look okay, like pretty good on my skin actually when it's first applied. Even like the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation, which is one of the most matte full coverage foundations out there, that still looks okay on me when I first apply it. This is possibly one of, if not the worst foundations that I've ever put on my face. And that really is saying something. I've got £4 foundations upstairs that are from like Body Care that like nobody uses because they're like crap makeup that look better on my skin than this does right now. However, I will soldier on in the name of beauty and YouTube. So I'm going to wear this for the rest of the day and I will check back in with you guys to let you know just how terrible I think it is, because I can already tell that I'm not going to like this. But hey ho, I will try and give it a fair shot and I will try and not be too negative in my later review. So I will see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, so it's about my 4-hour later check-in. Sorry if you can hear the tumble dryer in the background, but you know, girl's got to do her washing. All in all, I don't think it's looking too bad. It still does look quite dry around my nose and like on my blemishes where I've got some kind of dry crustiness healing. It's lasting better than it had previously, at least to my knowledge. I think the side with the brush that I applied looks better and is holding up a bit better, but overall I'm still not that impressed with it. It's only been on my face for maybe about 3 or 4 hours and it is a lot more oily than some of my other foundations that I would have used, that I would normally wear day to day. But you never know, it might have some redeeming features later. It doesn't look as bad as it did the first time I used it though, so at least it has that going for it, I suppose. Hey guys, so I'm back after many hours. I think it's probably actually about 11 or 12 hours after I first applied the foundation, and I mean, I'm very shiny. I'm very, very, very shiny. But the foundation hasn't held up as terribly as I thought it would have. It is very shiny, and the side that I did with the brush definitely looks better than the side that I did the sponge on. But, you know, it's not split like I thought it would. So in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not too bad. Is it worth £28? No. No. If I'd have paid full price for this, I'd have been very unimpressed. Very, very unimpressed. As it turns out, I didn't. I got it for 10 quid, if that. So at the end of the day, it's not too bad. It's definitely not going to be an everyday staple for me. It's definitely not going to be something that I'm busting out rotation particularly frequently. One, the shade is horrendous on me. Two, it's clearly a very tricky formula to apply. Maybe I'm just not doing it correctly. Maybe I need to experiment with a different primer or better skincare underneath it or something of the like. But I've never had that kind of reaction with the foundation before. Like having it look like that on my skin straight after application. So I don't know. The longevity isn't brilliant. It's not bad, but it's not brilliant. So all in all, I think I've just got better foundations out there that are either the same price point or frankly a lot cheaper. I think most foundations that I have from the drugstore are actually pretty comparable and pretty good for the price that you pay, you know. So it just goes to show that, you know, just because you pay more money for something doesn't necessarily mean that it's better or higher quality. I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, I've definitely looked better. I've definitely looked a lot better. But anyway, that was my Tarte Shape Tape Foundation First Impressions. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my future uploads. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know what foundation you'd like me to try next, or if you have any suggestions for future video ideas. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.